Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is the RetroNatics back again tonight. I'm your host, Jose.
And I'm your other host, Javier.
Sorry if we're a little excited tonight. We just got out of seeing the new Star Wars movie, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Lots to talk about, so here's your warning. There are going to be a lot of spoilers. We're not going to hold back. We're going to tell you all about it. So if you have not seen the movie, 3, 2, 1. Alright, your warning has come and gone. Dude, go ahead, kick us off, because I got a lot to say about it. Probably not a lot of it too good, but I'll let you be the optimistic one tonight.
Well, my opinion on it was, there's a lot of comedy thrown in at the very beginning. It's more of a slow burn, really, before it actually starts getting really good at the end and stuff.
A little too slow.
So it's the story right after, Rey connects with Luke Skywalker, meets up with him, finds out that he's a hermit now on an island. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with, training anyone, being a Jedi or anything like that. So she feels like it's her need to become a Jedi or to learn the ways of the Force, because as she explains later on, is that she needs a place.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
Kylo Ren, of course, comes back. I guess he's dealing with the backlash of his failure with Snoke. A lot of expectations going into this movie. Near the end, before the movie, I was just having a few speculatory talks with friends and stuff, and we just thought, okay, well, they're going to kill off some characters or something like that, and maybe there's one important death in this movie, but they pretty much didn't touch the rest of the folks in it. In general, it's kind of a mixed bag of things. It was kind of a weird Star Wars movie to me, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of used to a formula, and this is kind of going in a few different directions from the very beginning. But near the end, I think that's when it started really like tugging at, fans' heartstrings and stuff, but I think it really did improve near the end. But overall, it was kind of a weird Star Wars movie,
I'm not sure if weird really even begins to describe it, man. Yes, we got the classic title scroll, we got the classic opening music, everything stayed true. But even the wording of what was in that title scroll just seemed kind of odd. Comedy in the very beginning. It's like they were trying too hard to make jokes and be funny in the beginning. And I'm like, this is a Star Wars movie, Yeah, there was some humor back in the classic trilogy. Just keep it on the down low. Don't try and go overboard with it. Don't force it. Don't try too hard at it. Dameron Poe, yeah, I'm in hold for General Hux. Yes, I guess I'm hold. This is the Star Wars universe. Do they really even have the function of hold on their communication systems? Like
they did a lot of like cut-ups and stuff, like some joking around and everything, like you wouldn't see that in the old Star Wars. They didn't have that type of cut-up humor with Tarkin, like of all people and stuff, if you want to equate him to that.
Well, this definitely had Disney's fingerprints all over it. It was basically a slow O.J. Simpson white Bronco chase. But I don't know. To me, the movie was just a little too disjointed. It was all over the place. It was trying to be funny one moment, serious the next, and to me, it just wasn't working. I'd hate to say it, but I'm a little disappointed with this Star Wars movie. This, to me, is the most meh Star Wars movie I've seen to date. This one, though, I mean, come on, we should be going back to the classic formula. We should be doing what works for Star Wars, and tonight, I'm sorry to say, it didn't work. We still don't have full-on revelation about who Rey's parents are. We're kind of left with two things. If you pay attention at the very beginning of the movie, like within the first 5 minutes, I think it was, Snoke says he's talking about Rey, and he says something. I don't know. We may have to go back and watch again. But he says something along the lines, almost describing her as, quote-unquote, the seed of Luke Skywalker. That, to me, means that Rey is Luke's daughter. However, we don't get any confirmation at all in the movie. Later on, Rey is having a confrontation with Kylo Ren, and Kylo tells her, hey, I know who your parents are, and, well, they were nobodies. They were just some junk dealers who sold you into the slave trade so they could get some drinking money and go off party, and they left you, so you're really a nobody. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't see that. And why do I not see that? Simply because, number one, Rey is extremely powerful in the Force. Number two, you jump back to Force Awakens, and when she finds Luke's lightsaber in Maz's little basement, Maz tells her, hey, this was Luke's lightsaber and his father before him, and now it calls to you. why would this lightsaber suddenly just be calling out to some random stranger who's a nobody?
Yeah, I think I told you that I missed that part where you said that they said seat of Skywalker. And, you know, I told you I was paying attention to other stuff, but maybe I didn't catch that line. But as you said before, they didn't go back to re-reference that, or there was no other, I could see no other, like, connection between Luke and Rey, you know, like, of him, like, bonding with her on the father level, other than a teacher and stuff. As she had mentioned somewhere in the film that I guess he shut it off, like his feelings with the Force, that he didn't connect with it and stuff. I think there's another explanation for that as well, but you would think that they'd have some sort of sense with each other or something like that. Maybe they'd be a bigger bond if he was like the father.
But again, we neither got confirmation nor denial about that relationship. So that's still very open-ended. We don't know if they're going to do something with it, or if maybe they're just going to scratch it off and be like, well, it was a mystery that we're just not really going to deal with. I don't know. This is supposed to be a really good story. Yes, you've got special effects and everything, but I mean, come on. Star Wars was successful because of the story behind it, and that's what needs to keep driving it forward in this day and age right now. You have a great looking movie. I'm not going to deny that. You know, it's a great film. It looks good, but your story is weak. It's so disjointed. It's so all over the place. I don't know if you're trying to be a comedy, a drama, sci-fi. What are you trying to be? I mean, this movie just, I don't know. It really disappointed me. I mean, I understand it's sci-fi. Okay, it's not supposed to be extremely realistic. But we had the same repeated deal of Poe Dameron with his X-Wing this time. In The Force Awakens, he uses a TIE fighter to take out the turbo laser towers of the Star Destroyer when he makes his escape with Finn. In the opening scene of Last Jedi, he uses his X-Wing to do the same thing with a dreadnought. Which, I'm like, okay, we've seen this already before. But the second thing also is the realism. They have shields. That little fighter really shouldn't even be able to hit those turbo laser towers because the shields would be protecting it. They were bombarding the Resistance cruiser for like, I don't know, 2 hours that we were in the film, bombarding the crap out of that thing, and they never got damaged because you could obviously see the shield on it. That dreadnought would have the exact same defenses, so stuff like that just doesn't make sense to me, and I hate when they do that.
I think I brought that up as well, like in our little talk about that, is that there's a scene, I forget her name, but it's Laura Dern's character.
Right.
You know, like she sacrifices herself, you know, to save the, you know, escaping like, you know, resistance and stuff. But she makes the decision, you know, because they actually find out that they're escaping towards a planet. They start throwing these you know, blasts to take care of these ships, to take them out. She makes the decision to sacrifice herself by turning around like her ship and cutting right through it's the Star Destroyer, right?
Correct, yeah.
And right through everything. I mean, it was a cool little moment. Everyone was like, whoa, you know, like taking a look, and all these ships were getting, you know, cut up and stuff. At the same time, I thought, you know, wouldn't that thing have like at least some sort of resistance, some sort of shield or something like that to at least do a little bit of damage, you know, like before it cut right through? But like you were saying something about just like the size of a fastly moving, you know,
right,
object or something.
We're talking about a cruiser ship that jumps instantly to the speed of light, and yeah, to me, it doesn't matter what you've got. I don't care what kind of shields or anything you've got. If there's an object going the speed of light and it hits you, it's going to go right through you no matter what you got. The other thing also was, if she destroyed all those ships with that maneuver, where did they get their ground units from? Because everything looked like it was destroyed. So I'm like, how did Kylo suddenly like, okay, well, let's take our army, go down to the planet of where? I don't get how he had all these walkers in the ship and everything else that he had with him. It was just,
I don't know. You know, I don't know about that. Maybe they had some sort of backup because they did put down, you know, Imperial walkers or just walkers on the. I thought it was an ice planet, but it's a salt planet, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think they were trying to go with the same beat of, like, an icy white planet, but it's just basically a salt planet.
It's a salt planet,
what threw
right.
me off was, you know, that one scene where you see Leia, you know, like, looking out, and she's got a coat on. So I was thinking, okay, they're on an ice planet, or whatever it is. But another thing that I noticed about the film was it had so many close calls in it. Like, the whole, like, scene with the ship cutting right through, that saved a couple of characters. It saved Finn and I forgot her name, but you know, they were just about to get executed, But
yes.
that just came in time, to kind of
Yes.
disrupt their execution. And then later on, BB-8 controls like a walker,
Yes, that's right.
that's another close call there. But just too many of these close calls. I forgot what else. There was something in the beginning as well. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a close call or not, but in the very beginning, they're trying to destroy the dreadnought, right?
Oh, the dreadnought, right? And the girl trying to kick the controller down to her, yeah, and that to me was kind of ridiculous because you see it misses her obviously. Somehow she's
and then she
able
catches it,
to roll over and catch it real quick. Like
I thought she was going to use the force. I thought that's what she was doing was grasping for it and trying to use the force or something like that to bring it down.
Something like that would have actually made more sense.
Yeah.
You will see when you watch the movie. You'll see at the very end. There's a little kid who, when he steps outside,
it's a backstory on the kid though. Yeah.
They didn't
He's a
even really
slave.
give.
He's
He's
a
a
slave
slave,
kid,
but
yeah.
they barely gave him backstory. I mean, is this supposed to be like Anakin Skywalker 2.0? I mean, what's the deal with that?
Okay, so the whole that planet itself was basically like a rich. I don't know what they were trying to go with as far as they were trying to maybe take a jab at the higher richer societies or something like that.
Yeah.
And enslaving the poor societies. So this one of the characters really hated the planet because it was full of scum, and she grew up there and she was a little slave and stuff. But they basically took care of these race horses, if you will.
Right.
So anyway, these kids are there and they're abused. You see them zooming in, and they've got these trainers and stuff that are basically whipping these kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So you have more slave kids. And I don't know if they're trying to go with maybe Anakin's, remember his backstory as a slave kid.
Yes.
If they're trying to do the same beat as that.
Basically, what you're saying is you've got these rich people, these 1%ers on this planet that are profiteering by playing both sides of this war.
I mean, it brings up a good point too. I think we talked about this a little bit before. Was that in the previous Star Wars films, you just took for granted, how they came across certain machines and stuff, or certain the TIE fighters and the X-wings and stuff. You just thought that each group or each side had their own engineers making these things, and in this film, it explains that just any corporation here. It's double-sided,
Right.
You can have one manufacturer that builds ships for both sides, like you said before. You have Benicio del Toro's character,
And he was definitely playing. He was out for himself. Benicio del Toro's character, definitely out for himself. He was fine with helping the good guys until he got in trouble, and then he had to do what he had to do in order to survive. So he really took no sides in a way. He was. I can't really say he was a neutral character. He basically just worked for the highest bidder, similar to a bounty hunter. Luke appears basically as a force apparition at the end. He appears to be there, but then we find out at the very end that he's actually not there.
Which kind of the weird part to me was, if they were thinking, where did Luke come in from? They
did that. Yes, they did mention how did Luke get in here? But then right after that, they also remembered the little crystal dogs or whatever they are, and they ask about them. And actually,
boxes,
they end up zeroing in on that in order to get out, rather than on how Luke got in. So they kind of they mention it real quick. They're like, oh well, there's got to be a way out because how else did Luke get in? And then all of a sudden, bam, they hit on the idea. Well, oh hey, there were all these native creatures here, and suddenly they're gone. Well, they had to get out somehow, so. They follow them out. They escape. And all's good. So.
Rey basically they're stuck because there's a little crevice, and oh darn, there's these rocks here and stuff, and that's where Rey comes in and saves the day.
Right.
Uses her strength and force powers after 2 days of training.
Gosh. That was not training. She barely got 2 lessons from Luke. Not even no lightsaber skills. How does she know how to fight so well with a lightsaber?
That's a lot of people's complaints. It's a term, Mary Sue. It's a term. Go look it up if you don't know it. But basically, they threw a whole bunch of powers easily onto her. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, she goes from a nobody to somebody that's very powerful without going through the lessons that Luke had to go through. Right. He went through basically 2 movies to get to where he was in Return of the Jedi, and all of a sudden you just have Rey that just has all these powers just to speed up the story, so that you don't spend too much time with her training.
I thought Kylo Ren, I really did think he was going to turn and come back to the good side. He gives the impression that he's going to because he kills Supreme Leader Snoke himself. Then he basically rescues Rey, and together they fight off the Royal Guards.
Which is a good scene. Yeah.
Yes, it was an awesome scene. It was really, really cool. You find out really just he's got his own agenda like any good Sith. He just wants to rule the galaxy. He actually wants to rule the galaxy with Rey. He tells her, come with me, let everything die, and we can restore order, and we'll rule together, blah blah blah. Didn't we just see this a while ago in Empire Strikes Back? How are they going to conclude? Snoke is dead. Snoke ended up really being a nobody.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if they conclude, because they're not going to let Kylo Ren become the Supreme Leader. He's going to be Supreme Leader by default because he killed Snoke, right?
Right.
And even General Hux didn't want to become like his second.
I kind of feel sorry for General Hux in this movie because he was kind of beaten up like a rag doll throughout the movie. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling that they're going to off him in the next movie. And I mean, why not? They offed Captain Phasma.
What's his name? Admiral Akbar.
Admiral Akbar dies. They off Admiral with no fanfare. You barely even realize the guy is gone. Well, that sucked.
And you think Princess Leia dies too. You don't see her like engulfed in flames. Right. You see her sucked out. And you're like, oh, well, nobody survives space.
Exactly.
But she does.
Does. Somehow she's out there for like 10 minutes and she still survives.
And basically she uses the Force to kind of float through the debris and then make herself, put herself onto that surviving ship.
Laura Dern's character, who I actually did like. I liked her character a lot. I wish she was coming out in episode 9. But no, they offed her. So she is gone.
The major character death, right? So we mentioned Luke Skywalker. He doesn't follow Rey.
He never leaves the island.
Never leaves the island.
There you go.
Exactly. He never leaves the island. And then we get our final scene. We see Luke. He's worked up, and he's sitting, next to his cave and stuff. And he's basically he used a lot of concentration. He used the Force to project himself to save the Resistance, and I guess that took a lot out of him. To basically you just see Luke die.
Final thoughts, though. Mine are still the same. A little disappointed with it. I didn't like the way they killed off some main characters from the classic trilogy. They just took them out with no fanfare, nothing at all. Movie was just a little over the place. Trying too hard to be funny. I don't really know why. It's a Star Wars movie, not a comedy. So your final thoughts, man. Go for it.
My final thoughts, it was a mixed bag. It wasn't like the big, exciting movie that, I'm used to, feeling about like a Star Wars movie. I guess it could have been worse, I'm not like, it's basically, it's just okay. I'm just going to say it's okay,
It's Disney. It's just so weird, man.
I forgot who wrote the film, whether or not it was the same writer as The Force Awakens or not, But it's very different from The Force Awakens. I'll go with that. It's totally different,
I will take Force Awakens over The Last Jedi any day of the week.
Yeah.
The only cool thing about The Last Jedi was we as fans, of course, everyone out there gets reunited with Luke Skywalker. I was a little put off, however, though, that Rey hands over his lightsaber and he takes the lightsaber and then he just like flicks it over his shoulder and walks away.
For another comedy bit, yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, that's kind of lame. I mean,
it had some weird narrative moments as well, like the whole no, Kylo remembers it as this, Luke was trying to kill me.
Yes.
And Luke looks so evil, the dark side took over and he's about to kill Kylo. You got to see the scene, but that's his reason why he turned on the Jedis and stuff and killed them. And then when Luke re-explains the story, it's almost like Cold Case, like the show Cold Case, where they have so many different people telling different sides of the story. And I'm not a bad guy. This is how it really went down. I was, I felt the presence and I felt weak. I felt like a moment of weakness, and I just decided, no, that's not the right thing to do. And then that's when Kylo.
That was the thing. Are you trying to be sci-fi? Are you trying to be a murder mystery? Are you trying to be a whodunit? What is this? Is this CSI or is this Star Wars? I mean, come on. It was just all over the place. It Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I gotta admit, it was a little bit of a mess of a film. It just was not that good.
You know, the cool thing about Star Wars, though, like, if you're not happy with this one, we're just gonna see how the third movie comes out. But you can always go back to the better films.
I'm gonna go back to the classic trilogy and just stick with that, man.
Regenerate your mentality, you know, like your feelings towards the universe and stuff. Play the better video games and everything.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for watching us. Checking out our review here for opening night for Star Wars here, December 14th, 2017. So, please like and subscribe to our channel. Leave us some comments down below in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts about Star Wars The Last Jedi after you've seen it. Tell us if you agree with us. If you don't agree with us, I mean, hey, whatever. You know, it's a free world. Just talk to us, man. So, all right.
Yeah. Have a good one.